foreign policy advisor for the Committee for Responsible Foreign Policy, TV correspondent, CW6 News San Diego, as well as One American News Network, and her website, The KD Report. And above all, she's streaming live now at Periscope.com and Facebook. Kimberly, how are you?
I'm fine. How about yourself, Chuck?
Pretty good. You know, I had you on my little screen there for a moment there, and I was sending you a notice there. Hey, nice color. Kind of a
there you go.
Orange.
Yeah. Spring.
You know, I hear that scares away the virus.
Oh, yeah, hopefully. Plus the garlic that I wear, I think that does it in.
Well, I'll tell you, you've got an in-depth report. It was also the number one story coming out of Fox News today. Whenever you go to the print edition.
Yeah.
Many people calling for the resignation. Dr. Tedros needs to step down.
Yeah.
Boy.
Well, I mean, this is, I know that, they were running this campaign to who was going to run the World Health Organization. And it's kind of like he made a comparison to his honor and his integrity was completely taken away unfairly. And he said it was just like James Comey at the FBI going after Hillary Clinton or for her email servers. The same exact thing happened to him. Well, does anybody here really believe that Hillary Clinton was, not vindicated with the emails? No. I mean, once everything came out, she was out of the water. She didn't win the election. So for this guy to compare himself to Hillary Clinton, he may just want to step away from that comparison, because when you look at what he's been responsible for, it's not good.
Yeah, and getting into the number one thing that a lot of people didn't know, and I've done some stories on this, the cholera epidemic that he tried to cover up, and he said, well, I kind of didn't. But I'm going to tell you something. There was so much money sunk in to him getting elected as head of WHO by the Chinese. All right?
Yep.
Yeah, follow the money trail.
Exactly. Well, and the Chinese have actually, asked for Dr. Tedros to push for this, what they call, it's a global citizenship. And by throwing America aside on this, pandemic that's across the globe, China was hoping that they would come out with, low numbers, and they'd come out the heroes. They'd donate some of the equipment, they'd donate the antibodies required, the extra ventilators, whatever they needed. They were gonna be this was their time on the world stage to reclaim their existence on top of the rest of the world. However, it didn't really go down that way. But for a lot of people, that's what, you look at. And they believe that, these people actually have cured them. And we know China lies just about everything. And you can't get any truth really out of the country. I mean, Apple had to change its rules and change the way, what technology and open internet, that they can allow the Chinese citizens. So I mean, this is just a very, very bad person who's sitting in a position where you've got journalists all over this country, at least, taking information he says and spitting it out as truth, and they ought to be doing their research on some of this stuff.
Yeah, when you mentioned China pushing for global citizenship, and then I think also the topping, the ice cream, so to speak, of that would be the new Green Deal.
Yeah.
And I think you and I have mentioned the Silk Road before, where they go into all these countries, let us build this and build this and build this for you, and then all of a sudden, the countries are so poor in the beginning they couldn't pay off all the construction they did.
Yeah.
So here's what we'll do. You go ahead and give us an airport and a shipping dock here and all. Yeah. Pretty smart on their part, I guess, but a lot of people are in the dark about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's, and we're seeing evidence now of a second wave, because China, I think they just wanted, at least a lot of Chinese experts here in this country, they said they really wanted to clean this up quickly. They didn't report it right off the bat, so they would be able to say, okay, it started in December and it ended in January, or whatever their guidelines they decided to do. And because we figured out how to fix this so quickly and so succinctly, then we're going to just go ahead and help the rest of the world, except America. We're going to help the rest of the world with whatever you need to fight this pandemic, because we are all knowing. And, I guess they thought most of the world would fall for it, which they probably did. But, luckily, most Americans don't really see things like that. And now with the second wave coming through China, that's really, sinking the ship over there, so to speak.
Now, you mentioned in this report that Dr. Tedros, Ethiopia's health minister, from 2005 to 2012, and you say they had outbreaks of cholera, 2006, 2009, 2011, and he didn't necessarily get up and talk about it like he is now, did he?
Yeah, no. To some point you can see, third world countries not wanting to let the cat out of the bag, so to speak, because, a lot of these countries depend on tourism. And if there's an outbreak, people aren't going to travel there. But on the same front is, if they're not going to be honest about this, they're willing to infect, vacationers to their country, they're not going to get out of that third world status. So, to see this man, Dr. Tedros, to actually go through this entire process and everything, he's lied, he's known about it, he's covered it up. And, it's kind of like when Gaddafi was the chairman over there at the Human Rights Organization out of the UN. I thought that was quite funny. But this is a very similar situation here. You're seeing someone who actually has committed these acts and has covered up and lied to the Bush administration in previous cholera outbreaks. This man has just lied about all this. So when he comes out with his daily reports, what can you believe? I just don't know that we can believe, anything that this man says. And the thing this country should do, and what we ought to do, and I see the president kind of moving towards that, is having the U.S. pull out of the, World Health Organization, because we fund it just like everything else with the UN and all that. We're we give the most money, and if we take that money away, then maybe they'll get back to trying to be a respectable organization that's worthy of taxpayer dollars right now.
I'll tell you, Kimberly, and there's another thing that the Center for Disease Control, I think it was over the weekend, all of a sudden you come to find out that they were telling hospitals to list COVID-19 as the cause of death, even if you're just assuming, or perhaps it may have contributed. I've been saying all along, I thought they were making these numbers go up really bad. Yeah. And the higher the numbers go, worse everything that Trump built is falling apart, and there is a connection there somehow. I think, when we look at the CDC, and you've got people who are saying no, they're underestimating the numbers, and you've got other groups saying they're overestimating. I think we go back to a statistic that I know I've mentioned on this show probably for the last 3 weeks. From October 1st to March 1st, there were more than 17,000 Americans that died of the flu. So, it's obviously this is moving, a little bit quicker than that. But it'll be interesting to see what the numbers are for the next, fiscal year that is coming up, and compare that to the flu. So I think that, some of these people could be also misdiagnosed as, COVID-19 when they actually just have the flu or the pneumonia, which, they exhibit virtually the exact same, symptoms. And so it's, I think it's kind of difficult. And then you got people that aren't, that die at home, and then they get taken into the hospital or the morgue or whatnot, and they just assume it was the COVID-19. So, sadly, I don't even think that we can look at the CDC numbers just yet. Typically with them, you're looking back at statistics, so how to and what to expect moving forward. It's not like you go there for the up to the date, pandemic around the world type thing. But now this has thrown them into the forefront, and it's again, this has the ability to be a very politicized weapon right now, and sadly I think some people are doing it. I'm going to go way off the track here for a moment, and you work with me a lot, so that's nothing new. During World War II, whenever the Germans were on the East Coast with their submarines, President of the United States was telling, do not report this. We don't want the panic. So, and see, back then, they didn't have email, and instant communications like we do now. And they were hiding it. Okay, so it happens. Now then, let's look at China. In your report, you say China denied for months in 2003 that the SARS virus was there. So it's not like, oh, is this the first time they've held something back?
Yeah, and I think you're correct to say that. It wasn't until they decided after 2003 to kind of start self-reporting some of these issues so they could regain a national, international stature. It's not like China, and it's the largest country, in the world, obviously, and they don't mind if they lose some citizens because it's really not going to in the long term. Sadly, that's what their mindset is. Well, we've got a couple billion people or whatnot. What is it? These 50,000 here, and not that purposeful. So, I just think that when we're looking at this global pandemic, and like you said, you hit right on the target. You don't want to create panic. And at some point, we have to get back and start living. And I've seen, everybody, across the country, these doctors saying, you've got to stay inside, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. You have to look at it too, you have to live. We have to go on, and our society will go on. We don't know, how many people will die. The United States has done a decent job of slowing it down. And you're seeing Spain and Italy flip the corner, so now they're headed down the right direction. So, but moving forward, we have to live. I mean, I'm, out here in D.C. and the construction sites are full bore. I went for a drive yesterday. There were, I would say thousands of cars on the road. People were going about their business in this country. And I think the more you make the, society scared, they're not going to want to go back out and regain, or reclaim their lives.
The last, report I heard must have been 2 or 3 weeks ago, on the gigantic football stadium, that they're building in Los Angeles, for the Rams and the Chargers. I think they said, it was like 1,900 workers going full speed to make sure they get that thing,
No, I know.
And they're building a new one in Vegas. So, and then you say, is this one of those things on the list that's essential?
Yeah, is this essential? I mean,
you gotta have it.
Yeah, and where I am, it's all Amazon that they're building around here, multiple sites. And they're working Saturdays, they're working Sundays, you're supposed to start after 7 a.m., they're starting like at 6 a.m. They're moving through, and their business is moving, while the rest of America is supposed to just sit in their home and twiddle their thumbs and hope that they can get a grocery delivery to their home. That's what they want the American people to do. The American people aren't like that. We get back, you can knock us down, but we're going to stand right back up. And, it's time for Americans to start standing up and saying, look, you know what, I really want to, go back to work. I'm going to take all the precautions of washing my hands, bringing the sanitizer, wearing gloves if I have to, wearing the mask, but I'm an American, darn it, and I want to get back to work, and you guys need to, do your jobs and calm down and not freak the American people out, because they're doing a great job of that.
Chris Wallace, who, for some reason or the other, is still on Fox News, okay? He, bashing the president last night, talking to the Surgeon General and all this. And Chris Wallace has been mad at President Trump ever since Trump said, well, Chris, you're no Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
Yeah. But see, he's bashing the president now, like, well, we don't, we need to have one thing. In World War II, the president wasn't saying, okay, I want each state to determine what you're going to do and what you're going to build. And he says, and now you've got this president declaring, the COVID-19, and he's a war president, but he's letting each one of the governors decide what to do with their state. Yeah. And I'm thinking,
isn't that, we're a federalist.
The governors.
Yeah. Well, and let me tell you, here in Virginia, we have like one of the lowest rates of outbreaks. I think we have less than 1,000 documented COVID cases, 3 or 4. I think it's under 10 that have died here. And I would be curious to see what the age of the deaths are. But we're all living. We're all out. People are working. People are getting around here in Virginia. So you can't say that people can't go out and work or go about their daily lives using precautions, because this is actually a great example of, yes, we can go about our business and we can go out, we can work, we can, the only thing you can't do, you can't go to restaurants. They're still, they're doing takeout, delivery, and all that stuff. But we're living here. I mean, yesterday I couldn't believe the amount of people that were out on the highway, out at the parks, just, enjoying a beautiful day with 70 degrees yesterday. So, that if we can do this and not get everybody sick here, then why can't other states that aren't getting these hot spots, why can't they go on living? In Nebraska, do you think they have the same, MO what's going on in New York? Hardly. So I think it's time to get back to living. And, I think that we all should start getting back to work and helping those that need help and moving on.
Right. Well, here in California, they're complimentary because they started don't go out first and distance and all that. You get out on the freeway and you'll see some of these signs that says, "Stay home, save lives." Under CRN with Kimberly Dvorak, Marine Live, Periscope.com, Facebook. And, the thing is, all right, is that you hear a lot of negative things about this. Okay, Pedros, for example, Republican Arizona Senator McSally. Then you've got Republican Nebraska Senator Satsy bad-mouthing him. He's not doing the right job and spending up too much for China. Are there any Democrats that are speaking up against this, or is it?
You know what? I think just because Trump is in office, whatever he's okaying and whatever they're saying, they are just the opposite of what Republicans are doing and saying, which is tragic. Because in essence, you think that means...
If he hiccups, if he hiccups, it's, Trump
world disaster. And it's...
Witch doctor.
Yeah, exactly. But I think that, when you look at Dr. Tedros and, his history within Ethiopia, he was a part of the government when, whenever they have protesters, the government has no problem gunning down protesters. They torture people, and we've sent people to be tortured there. So he's a part of this administration, whether he wants to lie about it or not. This is his country. This is where he served. And for him to come out and say that, I had no idea any of that stuff is going on. I was just over here in this little corner. It's just ludicrous. And, and to cover up the cholera outbreak is ultra. It's so tragic because cholera can kill people in 24 hours. So there's no time to, get the medication to save your life. That's why it's extraordinarily important in situations like that these countries come out and say, look, we need help. We've got this. So the Americans and the Red Cross and all of the Doctors Without Borders will go to the area and lock down the area themselves and ensure that this doesn't spread across Somalia and other states on the continent of Africa. So it's important, and what this man's doing to I guess for money from China. I would assume that that's what he's going to get when he's done at the World Health Organization. It's wrong, and he's sat on all of this stuff for so long, and it's sad that the mainstream media is not covering this. You won't find this on the mainstream media, and they should care about it.
You can see the videos where the Chinese went and arrested people and hauled them in.
Yeah.
And then the worst thing, and he was there when it happened, was when they locked them in their house. 3 or 4 weeks later, they're dead.
Yeah. That's the country, and those are the people we're dealing with here. And I think that mainstream media ought to get up and say, look, this is what we're facing here, and let's get off the politicization here. It's ridiculous to have politics in any of this. We're Americans. We all stand together, and this is no way this should be politicized whatsoever. But it is every single day, sadly.
Yeah, and you know what? And it's just like anywhere in the world, it's not the race necessarily.
Yeah.
It's the people that are in charge of those people, no matter what color they are or whatever.
Yeah.
It has to do with. I'll tell you one thing, Kimberly. The nicest neighbors I've ever had in my entire life are the ones I have now, and they're Chinese. Okay, best neighbors I've ever had.
They're very humble, and they're prideful. Which is good.
And they really take care of their children when it comes to education
Yep.
and manners and stuff
Yep.
like that.
They do.
Well, we have run out of time. Is this going to be up on YouTube a little bit later on?
Yes, it will. It will be up
right.
on YouTube
and
a little
they
bit.
Can also and go to the Facebook, get the entire report. It's Kimberly Dvorak, Dvorak, and her website, thekdreport.com.